The unlikely alliance. Commander Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Force flagship Horizon, her dark eyes fixed on the swirling cosmic dust of the Orion Nebula. The massive viewscreen before her showed a dazzling array of stars and gases, but Sarah's attention was focused on a single point of light, a rapidly approaching alien vessel. "Status report," she barked, her voice crisp and authoritative. Lieutenant Rodriguez, her tactical officer, responded without looking up from his console. "Alien ship maintaining course and speed, Commander. No response to our hails. Weapons are charged but not locked." Sarah nodded, a grim smile playing at the corners of her mouth. The Zarkali were known for their unpredictability, but this was bold even for them. As humanity's first line of defense against extraterrestrial threats, the EDF had clashed with the insectoid aliens numerous times over the past decade. Each encounter left both sides bloodied and wary. "Shields at maximum," Sarah ordered. "Prepare for possible hostile action, but do not fire unless fired upon. Let's see what they're up to this time." As the alien vessel drew nearer, Sarah studied its sleek, chitinous hull. The Zarkali ships always reminded her of giant beetles, their segmented bodies bristling with organic weaponry. This particular craft was smaller than their usual war frigates, perhaps a scout or diplomatic vessel. Suddenly, the comm system crackled to life. A series of high-pitched clicks and whistles filled the bridge, causing several crew members to wince. "Translation incoming," announced the ship's AA. A moment later, a synthesized voice spoke. "Attention, human vessel. We come seeking parley. Our Hive Queen demands audience with your leader. Prepare to receive envoy." Sarah's eyebrows shot up in surprise. This was unprecedented. In all their years of conflict, the Zarkali had never sought direct communication. Her mind raced, weighing the potential risks and rewards of this unexpected olive branch. "Commander?" Lieutenant Rodriguez prompted, his hand hovering over the weapons controls. "Your orders?" Sarah took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. "Stand down, weapons. Prepare docking bay 3 for our guests, and someone find me a xenobiologist. I want to know everything there is to know about Zarkali biology and culture in the next 10 minutes. As her crew scrambled to comply, Sarah strode towards the lift, her heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. This could be the breakthrough humanity had been waiting for, or a clever trap. Either way, she was determined to face it head-on. The docking bay was a flurry of activity as Sarah arrived. Security teams stood at attention, their pulsed rifles held at the ready. Dr. Amelia Vasquez, the ship's lead xenobiologist, hurried over to Sarah's side, her tablet clutched tightly in her hands. "Commander, I've compiled everything we know about the Zarkali," Dr. Vasquez said breathlessly. "Which, admittedly, isn't much. Their high-faced social structure is similar to Earth insects, but with a level of intelligence and technological advancement that rivals our own. Their queen." The doctor's words were cut short by the hiss of the airlock. All eyes turned to watch as the massive doors slowly parted, revealing the alien envoy. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. The Zarkali stood nearly 8 feet tall, its exoskeleton a shimmering blue-black that seemed to absorb the light around it. Multiple arms, each ending in delicate, finger-like appendages, were folded gracefully across its thorax. But it was the alien's eyes that truly captivated Sarah. Multifaceted orbs that gleamed with an intelligence that was unmistakably sentient. The Zarkali took a step forward, its mandibles clicking softly as it regarded the assembled humans. Then, to everyone's shock, it spoke, not in its native tongue, but in perfectly accented English. "Greetings, defenders of Earth," the alien said, its voice a melodious hum. "I am Zitkara, emissary of the Hive Queen Silith. We come seeking an end to the conflict between our peoples." Sarah forced herself to recover from her surprise, stepping forward with a respectful nod. "Welcome aboard the Horizon, emissary Zitkara. I am Commander Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. We are, honored by your unprecedented visit. Zakara's head tilted slightly, and gesture Sarah couldn't quite interpret. The honor is ours, Commander. For too long, our species have danced the deadly waltz of war. It is time for a new song, one of cooperation and mutual understanding. As Sarah listened to the alien's eloquent words, she couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't quite right. The Zarkali's sudden desire for peace seemed too convenient, too perfectly timed. Her instincts, honed by years of combat and strategy, screamed caution. Your words are welcome, emissary, Sarah said carefully. But I must ask, why now? What has changed to bring about this dramatic shift in your people's stance? Zakara's multifaceted eyes seemed to darken, and Sarah could have sworn she saw a flicker of, was it fear? The stars grow dark, Commander Chen, the alien said, its voice lowering to a near whisper. A threat approaches that neither of our species can face alone. We need humanity's help, and in return, we offer knowledge that will revolutionize your understanding of the universe. Sarah's mind reeled at the implications. A threat greater than the Zarkali. It seemed impossible. And yet, the alien's demeanor spoke volumes. This was no trick, no clever ploy. Zakara was genuinely afraid. I'm listening, Sarah said, her curiosity overriding her caution. What kind of threat are we talking about? Zakara's mandibles clacked together in what Sarah assumed was a sign of agitation. Not here, the alien said, glancing around the docking bay. What I must share is for your leader's ears only. The fate of both our species hangs in the balance, Commander. Will you grant us safe passage to your homeworld? Sarah hesitated, acutely aware of the weight of this decision. To allow an alien delegation, former enemies, no less, direct access to Earth was unprecedented. It could be seen as a betrayal of her duty, a reckless endangerment of the very world she had sworn to protect. And yet, if Zakara spoke the truth, refusing could doom them all. Sarah straightened, meeting the alien's gaze with steely determination. Emissary Zakara, she said, her voice ringing with authority, on behalf of the Earth Defense Force and the United Earth Government, I accept your request for parley. Welcome to the first step towards peace between our peoples. As the words left her mouth, Sarah knew she had just changed the course of human history. For better or worse, a new chapter in humanity's cosmic journey was about to begin. The next few hours were a whirlwind of activity. Sarah oversaw the secure quarantine of the Zarkali delegation, coordinated with Earth's political leadership, and prepared her ship for the journey home. All the while, her mind raced with questions and possibilities. As the horizon broke orbit and set course for Earth, Sarah found herself once again on the bridge, staring out at the star-studded void. Lieutenant Rodriguez approached, his usually stoic face betraying a hint of concern. Commander, he said quietly, are you sure about this? Bringing them to Earth, it's a huge risk. Sarah nodded, understanding her officer's reservations. It is, she agreed. But sometimes the greatest risk is not taking one at all. Whatever this threat is, whatever the Zarkali know, we need to face it head-on. That's what humanity does best, isn't it? We adapt, we overcome, we push boundaries. Rodriguez considered her words, then offered a small smile. You're right, of course. It's just hard to think of them as potential allies after all this time. Change is never easy, Sarah said, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. But it's necessary for growth. Who knows? This could be the beginning of something incredible. As if on cue, the ship's AI announced, Commander, we're receiving a transmission from Earth High Command. They're requesting an immediate update on the situation. Sarah took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. Put them through, she said, preparing herself for what was sure to be a difficult conversation. It's time to convince the rest of humanity that the future we've always dreamed of might be closer than we think. As the familiar faces of Earth's leaders appeared on the view screen, Sarah felt a surge of determination. Whatever challenges lay ahead, whatever cosmic threats loomed on the horizon, she knew one thing for certain: humanity would face them with courage, ingenuity, and an unwavering spirit of exploration. The journey back to Earth had begun, and with it, a new chapter in the story of two species learning to overcome their differences in the face of a greater challenge. As the horizon streaked through the cosmos, carrying its unprecedented cargo of hope and possibility, Sarah Chen couldn't help but feel that they were on the cusp of something truly extraordinary. Secrets of the Void. The gleaming spires of New Geneva rose into view as the horizon began its descent through Earth's atmosphere. Commander Sarah Chen stood at the helm, her posture rigid with tension. Beside her, the Zarkali emissary Zikara clicked softly, its multifaceted eyes reflecting the approaching cityscape. "Your world is beautiful," Zikara hummed, a note of genuine awe in its voice. "So different from the high cities of Zarkalia Prime." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "Wait until you see it up close. Earth may surprise you yet, emissary." As the ship touched down on the landing pad of the United Earth Government headquarters, Sarah caught sight of the welcoming committee. A mix of military brass and civilian leadership, their faces a blend of curiosity and apprehension. At the forefront stood President Adama Nkrumah, his dark skin contrasting sharply with his crisp white suit. "Showtime," Sarah muttered, straightening her uniform. "Ready to make history, Zikara." The alien's mandibles twitched in what Sarah had come to recognize as amusement. "Always, Commander Chen. Let us hope it is the right kind of history." As they disembarked, the atmosphere was electric. News drones buzzed overhead, capturing every moment for the billions watching around the world. Sarah could practically feel the weight of humanity's collective gaze upon them. President Nkrumah stepped forward, his deep voice carrying across the landing pad. "Emissary Zikara, on behalf of the people of Earth, I bid you welcome. Your presence here marks a turning point in our shared history." Zikara bowed low, its segmented body folding gracefully. "President Nkrumah, we are honored by your greeting. The Hive Queen, Silith, sends her regards and her hope for a new era of cooperation between our peoples." The formalities continued as introductions were made and pleasantries exchanged, but Sarah could sense an undercurrent of urgency, a shared understanding that pleasantries were a luxury they could ill afford. Finally, they were ushered into a secure conference room deep within the UAG complex. As the doors sealed shut, cutting off the outside world, the atmosphere shifted palpably. President Nkrumah took his seat at the head of the table, flanked by his advisors. "Now then, emissary," he said, his tone businesslike. "Commander Chen informs us that you bring dire news. We're listening." Zikara's eyes seemed to darken, and Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. Whatever the alien was about to reveal, she sensed it would change everything. "Leaders of Earth," Zikara began, its melodious voice tinged with gravity, "what I am about to share with you has been the most closely guarded secret of the Zarkali Hive for millennia. A truth so terrible that it has shaped our entire civilization, driven us to technological heights, and yes, even to war with your kind." The room was silent, every human present leaning forward in anticipation. "There is a cancer eating away at the very fabric of our galaxy," Zikara continued. "A force so ancient and powerful that it defies comprehension. We call them the Void Eaters." With a wave of its upper limbs, Zikara activated a holographic display in the center of the table. A three-dimensional map of the Milky Way materialized, dotted with points of light representing stars and civilizations. For countless eons, the Void Eaters have moved through the cosmos, consuming entire star systems and leaving nothing but emptiness in their wake, Zikara explained, its voice heavy with dread. "They are not a species as we understand it, but a cosmic force of entropy given form and terrible purpose." The hologram zoomed in on a section of the galaxy's outer arm. Sarah's breath caught as she watched a cluster of stars simply vanish, leaving behind an inky void. "This is a recording from one of our long-range probes," Zikara said softly. "It shows the Void Eater's latest feeding ground. An entire sector, home to billions of sentient beings, wiped from existence in a matter of days. President Nkrumah's face had gone ashen. "My God," he whispered, "and you're saying these void eaters are headed our way?" Zakara's mandibles clacked together in affirmation. "Yes. Our most advanced predictive models show them reaching the borders of both Zarkali and human space within 5 of your Earth years." The room erupted into a cacophony of voices, questions and exclamations, overlapping in a tide of fear and disbelief. Sarah felt her head spinning, trying to process the enormity of what she'd just learned. Silence. President Nkrumah's voice cut through the chaos like a knife. He turned to Zikara, his eyes blazing with intensity. "Emissary, you spoke of knowledge that could revolutionize our understanding of the universe. I assume this is related to combating these void eaters." Zikara's body seemed to pulse with an inner light. "Yes, President Nkrumah. The Zarkali have spent millennia preparing for this moment. We have developed technologies beyond your wildest imaginings. Quantum singularity drives, dark matter manipulation, even the ability to create and harness micro-universes as power sources." The alien's multifaceted eyes swept the room, meeting the gaze of each stunned human in turn. "But it is not enough. Our scientists have concluded that only by combining Zarkali technology with human innovation and adaptability do we stand a chance of survival." Sarah found her voice at last. "That's why you sought peace," she said, "the pieces falling into place. You need us as much as we need you." Zikara's head bobbed in agreement. "Precisely, Commander Chen. The war between our peoples was a grave mistake, born of fear and misunderstanding. Now, we must set aside our differences and work together or face extinction." President Nkrumah stood, his face set with determination. "Emissary Zikara, on behalf of humanity, I accept your offer of alliance. Whatever it takes, whatever the cost, we will stand with the Zarkali against this threat." As murmurs of agreement rippled through the room, Sarah felt a surge of pride in her species. Faced with an existential threat, humanity's response was not to cower or despair, but to rise to the challenge. "There is one more thing," Zikara said, its voice dropping to a near whisper. "A piece of knowledge so revolutionary, so dangerous, that I was instructed to share it only if I deemed Earth's leaders worthy." The room fell silent once more, all eyes fixed on the alien emissary. "We have discovered," Zikara said slowly, "a way to communicate across time itself." The implications hit Sarah like a physical blow. Time communication. The possibilities were staggering, as were the potential dangers. "With this technology," Zikara continued, "we may be able to warn our past selves, to better prepare for the coming storm. But the risks of tampering with the timeline are immense. We must proceed with the utmost caution." President Nkrumah sank back into his chair, looking shell-shocked. "Emissary," he said hoarsely, "I believe you've just redefined the term earth-shattering revelation. What you're proposing, it's beyond anything we've ever conceived." Zikara's body seemed to droop slightly as it finally unburdened of a great weight. "And now you understand the true scope of what we face and why we came to you. The fate of not just our 2 species, but of all life in the galaxy, hangs in the balance." Sarah looked around the room, seeing the same mix of fear, determination, and dawning excitement on every face. They stood at the precipice of a new age, one filled with unimaginable dangers and equally unimaginable possibilities. "Well then," she said, squaring her shoulders, "I guess we'd better get to work. We've got the galaxy to save." As the room erupted into a flurry of activity, plans being made and orders given, Sarah caught Zikara's eye. The alien gave her what she could have sworn was a grateful nod. Together, human and Zarkali, they would face the darkness that threatened to consume them all. And in doing so, they would forge a partnership that would reshape the very stars themselves. The journey to save the galaxy had begun, and humanity was ready to play its part. The quantum crucible. The next 6 months passed in a whirlwind of frenetic activity. The announcement of the Zarkali alliance and the looming threat of the Void Eaters had sent shockwaves through human society. After the initial panic subsided, a new sense of purpose gripped the planet. Humanity, true to form, rose to the challenge with characteristic ingenuity and determination. Commander Sarah Chen found herself at the heart of it all, overseeing the integration of human and Zarkali technologies at the newly christened Quantum Crucible, a massive research and development facility built in the heart of the Sahara Desert. As Sarah strode through the facility's gleaming corridors, she marveled at the sight of humans and Zarkali working side by side. The initial wariness had given way to a shared sense of purpose and, increasingly, genuine camaraderie. "Commander on deck," a young ensign called out as Sarah entered the main laboratory. The diverse team of scientists, human and alien alike, snapped to attention. "At ease," Sarah said, allowing herself a small smile. "Dr. Ramirez, Hive Technician Zikvor, what's our status?" Dr. Elena Ramirez, Earth's leading quantum physicist, stepped forward. Her dark hair was streaked with premature gray, a testament to the stress of recent months. "Commander, we've made a breakthrough with the quantum singularity drive. Thanks to Zikvor's insights on dark matter manipulation, we've achieved a stable micro-wormhole." Zikvor, a younger Zarkali with iridescent green exoskeleton, clicked excitedly. "Yes, Commander Chen. The hybridization of our technologies is progressing faster than we dared hope. We are on the verge of faster-than-light travel that would make our current methods seem like crawling through tar." Sarah's heart raced at the implications. FTL travel had always been humanity's dream, the key to the stars. Now, faced with extinction, they were achieving it in months rather than decades. "Excellent work, both of you," Sarah said. "But remember, FTL is just the beginning. We need weapons capable of harming the Void Eaters, defenses that can withstand their assault." Dr. Ramirez nodded grimly. "We're working on it, Commander. The problem is, we still don't fully understand what the Void Eaters are. How do you fight something that exists partially outside our reality?" As if on cue, alarms began blaring throughout the facility. Sarah's comm unit crackled to life. "Commander Chen to the Temporal Communications Array immediately. We're receiving a transmission from the future." Sarah's blood ran cold. The Zarkali time communication technology had been theoretical until now. If they were receiving a message, "Continue your work," she ordered, already sprinting for the door. "I'll handle this." The Temporal Communications Array was housed in a separate wing of the facility, heavily shielded to prevent temporal contamination. As Sarah burst through the doors, she found a scene of controlled chaos. Technicians scrambled around a central platform where a shimmering holographic figure was taking shape. President Nkrumah and emissary Zikara were already present, their faces etched with tension. "Report," Sarah barked. A harried-looking technician responded without looking up from his console. "Transmission coming through from approximately 3 years in our future, Commander. Signal integrity at 68% and holding." The holographic figure solidified, and Sarah felt her breath catch in her throat. It was her. An older, battle-worn version of herself, her uniform tattered and her face scarred. "This is Commander Sarah Chen of the Earth-Zarkali Alliance," the future Sarah said, her voice distorted but unmistakable. "If our calculations are correct, I'm speaking to you 6 months after the initial Zarkali contact. Listen carefully, we don't have much time." President Nkrumah stepped forward. "We're listening, Commander. What news from the future?" The holographic Sarah's face twisted with pain. "The news is grim, Mr. President. The Void Eaters arrived earlier than we projected. Half the galaxy is already gone. Earth fell 2 months ago." A collective gasp went up from those assembled. Sarah felt her knees go weak, but she forced herself to stay upright. "But we've discovered something," future Sarah continued urgently. "The Void Eaters aren't invincible. They're vulnerable to a specific frequency of tachyon radiation. We've managed to wound one, but our resources are too depleted to press the advantage. She leaned forward, her holographic eyes seeming to bore into Sarah's. You need to accelerate the Lumina project. It's the key to generating the tachyon burst we need. And she hesitated, glancing off screen. There's a traitor in your midst. Someone is feeding information to a splinter group that worships the Void Eaters. Trust no one outside your inner circle. The hologram began to flicker, the signal degrading. One last thing, future Sarah said, her voice fading. The Zarkali homeworld, it's not what you think. There's a secret buried beneath the... The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving the room in stunned silence. Sarah's mind raced, trying to process everything she'd just heard. Earth fallen, a way to hurt the Void Eaters. A traitor? And what secret lay beneath the Zarkali homeworld? She turned to President Nkrumah and emissary Zikara, seeing her own shock and determination mirrored in their faces. Well, Sarah said, her voice steady despite the turmoil in her heart. It seems we have our work cut out for us. Zikara's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation. Commander Chen, I assure you, I know nothing of any secret on our homeworld, but if it exists, and it can help us defeat the Void Eaters, the Hive Queen will grant you full access to investigate. President Nkrumah nodded gravely. We'll need to tighten security immediately. Commander Chen, I'm placing you in charge of rooting out this traitor. As for the Lumina project, I'll oversee it personally, Sarah interjected. Whatever it takes, we're not losing Earth. Not in this timeline. As they left the temporal communications array, Sarah's mind whirled with possibilities and dangers. The future was not set. They had been given a chance to change their fate, to save not just Earth, but the entire galaxy. The path ahead was fraught with peril, traitors, cosmic horrors, and secrets that could shake the foundations of two civilizations. But as Sarah looked at the humans and Zarkali working together, united against an unimaginable threat, she felt a surge of hope. They would face the darkness together, and they would win. As Sarah strode towards the Lumina Project laboratory, ready to dive into work that could save trillions of lives, she allowed herself a grim smile. The Void Eaters had no idea what they were in for. Humanity had been challenged, and as always, they would rise to meet it head-on. The battle for the future of the galaxy had begun, and Sarah Chen was determined to rewrite history itself if that's what it took to emerge victorious. Echoes of betrayal. The quantum crucible hummed with nervous energy as Commander Sarah Chen strode through its winding corridors. Her eyes darted from face to face, human and Zarkali alike, searching for any sign of the traitor her future self had warned about. Trust no one outside your inner circle, the message had said. But in a facility of thousands, with the fate of the galaxy hanging in the balance, how could she possibly identify the mole? Sarah's comm unit chirped, jolting her from her thoughts. Commander, you're needed in Hangar Bay 7. The prototype is ready for its first test. A thrill of excitement cut through her anxiety. The prototype, humanity's first faster-than-light ship, born from the fusion of human ingenuity and Zarkali technology. If successful, it would revolutionize space travel and give them a fighting chance against the Void Eaters. As she entered the cavernous hangar, Sarah's breath caught in her throat. The ship before her was unlike anything she'd ever seen. Sleek and predatory, its hull shimmered with an otherworldly iridescence that seemed to bend light around it. Dr. Ramirez approached, her eyes shining with pride. Beautiful, isn't she? We're calling her the Starchaser. Sarah nodded, running a hand along the ship's smooth surface. She's incredible. But will she fly? That's what we're about to find out, Dr. Ramirez replied with a grin. Care to do the honors, Commander? Before Sarah could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. Red emergency lights bathed the hangar in an eerie glow. Security breach in Section 12, a panicked voice shouted over the comm. Unknown hostiles have breached the perimeter. Sarah's blood ran cold. This was it, the moment they'd been dreading. Battle stations, she barked, drawing her sidearm. Dr. Ramirez, lock down the Starchaser. No one gets near it without my express authorization. As security teams scrambled to respond, Sarah sprinted towards the source of the disturbance. The sound of weapons fire echoed through the corridors, growing louder as she approached. Rounding a corner, she came face to face with chaos. A group of black-clad attackers, their faces hidden behind opaque visors, were engaged in a firefight with quantum crucible security. But what made Sarah's heart skip a beat was the sight of several Zarkeli among the attackers, their chitinous armor gleaming under the emergency lights. "Hold your fire," Sarah shouted, taking cover behind a fallen console. "Zakara, what the hell is going on?" The Zarkeli emissary materialized at her side, mandibles clicking furiously. "Void cultists," Zakara hissed. "A splinter group that worships the Void Eaters. They exist among both our peoples, Commander. I had prayed they wouldn't find us here." Sarah's mind raced. The traitor, it wasn't just one person, but an entire network of fanatics. "We need to push them back," she growled. "The Starchaser, the Lumina Project, we can't let them near any of it." As if in response to her words, a deafening explosion rocked the facility. Smoke billowed from the direction of the main laboratory. "The Lumina Project." Dr. Ramirez's voice crackled over the comm, thick with panic. "They're trying to destroy our research." Sarah made a split-second decision. "Zakara, take a team and secure the Starchaser. I'm going after the Lumina Project." Without waiting for a response, she vaulted over her cover and charged towards the lab, her weapon at the ready. As she ran, Sarah couldn't help but marvel at the insanity of it all. Humans and Zarkeli fighting side by side against a common enemy, one that included members of both their species. The main lab was a war zone. Shattered equipment sparked and smoked, filling the air with an acrid haze. Sarah ducked and weaved through the chaos, taking down Void cultists with precise shots. In the center of the room, a figure in black stood before the main Lumina Project console, fingers flying over the controls. "Step away from the console," Sarah shouted, training her weapon on the saboteur. The figure turned slowly, reaching up to remove their helmet. Sarah felt the floor drop out from beneath her as she recognized the face. "Hello, Sarah," said Lieutenant Rodriguez, her former tactical officer. His eyes gleamed with a fanatic light. "I'm sorry it had to come to this." Sarah's grip on her weapon tightened. "Why, Rodriguez? How could you betray everything we fought for?" Rodriguez laughed, a hollow sound devoid of humor. "Betray? I'm trying to save us all. The Void Eaters aren't our enemies, Sarah. They're our salvation. Can't you see? They offer an end to all suffering, all conflict. Universal peace through oblivion." "You're insane," Sarah spat. "Step away from the console. Now." "It's too late," Rodriguez said, his finger hovering over a final button. "The data's already been transmitted to my associates. The Lumina Project will never be completed. The Void Eaters will come, and we will embrace the eternal silence." Time seemed to slow as Rodriguez's finger descended towards the console. Sarah knew she had a split second to act, to save the project that might be humanity's only hope against the cosmic horror bearing down on them. She fired. The shot caught Rodriguez in the shoulder, spilling him away from the console. Sarah was on him in an instant, securing his hands behind his back. "It's over," she said, her voice heavy with a mixture of relief and sorrow. As security teams swarmed the lab, Sarah turned her attention to the Lumina Project console. The damage was severe, but not irreparable. They had stopped the sabotage in time, but at what cost? Hours later, as the last of the Void cultists were rounded up and the full extent of the attack became clear, Sarah stood before a hastily assembled council of human and Zarkeli leaders. "The Starchaser is secure," she reported, "and while the Lumina Project suffered damage, our teams are confident they can reconstruct the lost data." But she paused, steeling herself. We've been compromised. The Void cultists now have partial information on our defenses, our plans. President Nkrumah leaned forward, his face etched with concern. What do you recommend, Commander? Sarah took a deep breath. We need to accelerate our timeline. The Starchaser is ready for its first test flight. I propose we use it to launch an immediate expedition to the Zarkali homeworld. We need to uncover the secret my future self hinted at. It may be our only chance to get ahead of the Void Eaters. Murmurs of agreement and concern rippled through the assembled leaders. Zakara stepped forward, mandibles clicking thoughtfully. I will accompany you, Commander Chen, the Zarkali emissary said. Whatever secrets lie beneath our world, we will face them together. As the council debated the details of the mission, Sarah's mind wandered to the vastness of space that awaited them. The Starchaser would take them further and faster than any human had ever traveled, and at the end of that journey lay either salvation or damnation for two species. She thought of Rodriguez, of the madness that had taken root in his mind. How many others like him were out there, working in secret to hasten the end of all things? Sarah shook off the dark thoughts. They had won this battle. The war for the future of the galaxy still lay ahead, but for the first time since learning of the Void Eaters, she felt a glimmer of true hope. As the meeting adjourned and preparations for the Starchaser's maiden voyage began, Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Let the Void Eaters come. Let the cultists scheme in the shadows. Humanity and the Zarkali would stand together against the darkness, and they would light up the galaxy with the brilliance of their defiance. Revelation's edge. The Starchaser hung suspended in Earth's orbit, its iridescent hull shimmering against the backdrop of endless stars. Commander Sarah Chen stood on the bridge, her heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. This was it, humanity's first true step into the cosmic unknown. All systems go, Commander, Lieutenant Zora Okoro reported from the helm, her dark fingers dancing across holographic controls. Quantum singularity drive is primed and stable. Sarah nodded, allowing herself a moment to drink in the historic nature of this moment. Crew status. Dr. Elena Ramirez spoke up from her station. All personnel accounted for and secure, including our Zarkali guests. As if on cue, Zakara glided onto the bridge, its multifaceted eyes reflecting the starfield before them. We stand ready, Commander Chen. May the wisdom of the Hive guide our journey. Sarah took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. All right, people, let's make history. Lieutenant Okoro, engage the quantum drive. Take us to Zarkelia Prime. The ship hummed to life, a sound unlike anything Sarah had ever heard. It was as if reality itself was bending around them. The starfield on the viewscreen began to twist, stretching into impossibly long streaks of light. And then, with a silent flash that seemed to reverberate through every atom of Sarah's being, they were gone. The journey that should have taken years passed in the blink of an eye. One moment, they were in Earth's orbit, the next they were hurtling through an alien star system. By all that's holy, Dr. Ramirez breathed, staring at her instruments in awe. We've done it. We're in the Zarkali home system. A cheer went up from the human crew members, quickly stifled as professionalism reasserted itself. Sarah allowed herself a small smile before turning to Zakara. Welcome home, emissary. Care to give us the grand tour? Zakara's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of excitement or nervousness. Sarah wasn't quite sure. With pleasure, Commander. Though I must confess, I am as curious as you are about what secrets my world may hold. As the Starchaser entered orbit around Zarkelia Prime, Sarah felt her breath catch in her throat. The alien world below was a swirling tapestry of emerald and sapphire, crisscrossed with the gleaming filaments of impossibly tall hive cities. It's beautiful, Sarah murmured. Zakara made a sound that might have been a chuckle. We find your world equally captivating, Commander. Beauty, it seems, is one of the few true universals. Their reverie was interrupted by an urgent beep from the sensor array. Lieutenant Okoro frowned at her readouts. Commander, I'm detecting some kind of energy signature from the planet's surface. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. Sarah leaned in for a closer look. The energy pattern pulsed with an otherworldly rhythm, seeming to defy the laws of physics as they understood them. That, Zikara said softly, is not of Zarkali origin. A chill ran down Sarah's spine. Could it be related to the secret my future self mentioned? Before Zikara could respond, the ship's communications array crackled to life. A booming voice, speaking in the clicking language of the Zarkali, filled the bridge. Translation incoming, the ship's AI announced. A moment later, the message repeated in English. Attention alien vessel, you have entered restricted space. Power down your engines and prepare to be boarded. Any resistance will be met with lethal force. Sarah's hand instinctively went to her sidearm. Zikara, what's going on? I thought we had clearance from your hive queen. The Zarkali emissary's exoskeleton had paled to a sickly green. We did, Commander. This is unprecedented. Something is very wrong here. As if to underscore Zikara's words, the view screen lit up with dozens of approaching Zarkali warships, their weapons primed and ready. Orders, Commander, Lieutenant Okoro asked, her voice tense. Sarah's mind raced. They were outnumbered and in unfamiliar territory. Fighting their way out wasn't an option, but neither was surrendering the Starchaser and its groundbreaking technology. Can we use the quantum drive to jump out of here? She asked. Dr. Ramirez shook her head. Not without several minutes to recharge. We'd be blown to atoms before we could engage. Sarah made a split-second decision. All right, we play along for now. Lieutenant Okoro, power down non-essential systems, but keep the quantum drive on standby. Dr. Ramirez, prepare to purge all sensitive data if I give the word. Zikara, I hope you're ready for some fast talking. As the Zarkali warships surrounded them, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the precipice of something world-shattering. The strange energy signature, the hostile reception, what had happened on Zarkalia Prime. The largest of the warships extended a docking tooth, latching onto the Starchaser with a metallic clang that resonated through the hull. Here we go, Sarah muttered, straightening her uniform. Everyone remember, we're here as peaceful explorers. Let's not start an interstellar incident if we can help it. The airlock cycled open, and Sarah found herself face to face with a contingent of heavily armed Zarkali soldiers. Their exoskeletons were a deep, menacing crimson, a far cry from Zikara's iridescent green. The lead soldier stepped forward, its mandibles clicking aggressively. You will come with us. The overseer demands answers. As they were led off the ship, Sarah exchanged a worried glance with Zikara. Overseer, she whispered. What happened to the hive queen? Zikara's reply was barely audible. I don't know, Commander. But I fear we've stepped into something far larger and more dangerous than we could have imagined. They were marched through winding corridors of living crystal, deeper and deeper into the heart of what Sarah realized must be the capital hive city. The architecture was breathtaking, but there was an undercurrent of wrongness to it all, as if the very walls were watching them with malevolent intent. Finally, they were ushered into a vast chamber that seemed to pulse with otherworldly energy. At its center stood a figure that made Sarah's blood run cold. It was a Zarkali, but like none she had ever seen. Its exoskeleton was a void-like black that seemed to absorb light. Tendrils of dark energy writhed around it like living shadows. When it spoke, its voice resonated with eldritch power. Welcome, humans, the overseer said, its multifaceted eyes gleaming with malice. Welcome to the dawn of a new age, the age of the void. Sarah's hand tightened on her weapon, her mind reeling. Whatever this thing was, it was clear the situation had just gone from bad to catastrophic. As the overseer loomed before them, Sarah realized with a sinking feeling that they had walked right into the heart of darkness. The secret beneath Zarkalia Prime wasn't just a weapon or a technology, it was something far worse. The battle for the galaxy's future was about to begin, and they were woefully unprepared. To be continued.